We've come now to Movie Spotlight, our Friday feature where we usually review some of the latest releases at the Korean box office and online, but this week we have a Busan International Film Festival special. The annual event kicked off on Wednesday with the world premiere of Because I Hate Korea. And joining us via video today from the event is film critic Jason Bechervaise to tell us all about it. We connect with them now. Jason, hello.
Hello, Jango, live from Busan.
Indeed. Well, thank you for breaking away from everything that's going on there to speak to us today. We really appreciate it. So yes, the Busan International Film Festival, or BIF as it's affectionately known, is in full swing. A total of 209 films from 69 countries will be screened. That's actually significantly less from previous years, and it seems to be partly down to some controversies the festival has faced. So, Jason, can you tell us about that? And what do you make of the atmosphere there now that it has started? Has the turmoil, the internal turmoil, affected the event at all?
Well, actually, it feels pretty normal down here. There's a good atmosphere. You know, being in screenings earlier today and yesterday, there's a lot of people around, a lot of people waiting to get tickets. It doesn't feel any different. So, credit to the organizers actually for putting on a festival that it's working well. It's operating normally, but that being said, though, there are things happening that have happened behind the scenes that have concerning for those in the industry. Just to kind of give you some kind of context here, in May, the festival decided to kind of split the top role of the festival into two. So essentially, you have a managing director and a festival director. Now that created all sorts of problems. The festival faced a lot of criticism from within the film industry, and the festival has a close relationship. So if the film industry was voicing concerns, then they had to listen. And so subsequently, the festival director had to, rather the chairman had to resign, Lee Young-kwan. So. And there were also other issues, and I think there's been a power struggle within the festival, and so it has been challenging, especially for those involved. But they've managed to kind of, I guess, steady the ship, so to speak. So Nam Dong-chul, he's in charge of programming here, and he's kind of become the de facto kind of leader of the festival. And he's managed to get things under control, and it's operating normally, like I said. But, you know, Busan Film Festival has not been, it's been affected by controversy in the past. In 2014, of course, there was the Seoul ferry sinking documentary that was screened, and the local mayor voiced opposition to screen that, and as a result, the festival was audited. Funding was reduced, and subsequently the festival boycotted the festival, and it took years for it to recover. And then the pandemic came, and then there's this latest controversy, which is more kind of internal. So it has been a troubling, not just few months, but I guess decade in a way for the festival. But it's great to be back down here. But actually, I think the bigger discussion, perhaps as well, is where the industry is right now. Because films are flopping, during the summer, and also during Chuseok, Cobweb, starring Song Kang-ho, director Kim Ji-yoon, was a big flop over the Chuseok Thanksgiving period. And the films here from the streaming giants, and I think there is a discussion, where is the industry right now? Where is it heading? Before the pandemic, in terms of admissions, in terms of numbers of people watching films, how many films, one of the highest in the world. And yet now it's a very different picture. People aren't going to cinema like they used to. There's been a shift. And so I think this comes at a time, not just for questions for the festival, but questions for the industry as a whole.
Right, so it's a challenging time for the industry and the festival, but hopefully the festival this year will be able to help lift the mood somewhat. As I mentioned, the festival opened with Because I Hate Korea. The Korean title is 한국이 싫어서. The title, it doesn't sound particularly uplifting, but it's certainly eye-catching. I understand that you have seen this film, right?
I did. I saw it yesterday. I came in Wednesday evening. I flew in Wednesday evening, and I saw the film yesterday. It's directed by Chang Gun-jae. He made a film called Midsummer's Fantasia. Basically, it stars Go Ah-sung. Sadly, she's not here because I think she got injured, and so she wasn't able to attend the festival. But you know, Go Ah-sung is a familiar name for anyone following Korean cinema. She was in The Host, Bong Joon-ho's The Host, and also Snowpiercer. And she plays a leading role here. She plays this young woman who gets really fed up living in Korea. She faces this long commute from Incheon into Gangnam, and she's just not happy. She's not really happy where things are heading for her, and she just wants to get out of the country. There's a lot of things she doesn't like about Korea, and so she basically she moves to New Zealand. And so we follow her and the kind of relationship she has in New Zealand. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't particularly well received by critics here, or the international critics. I liked it a bit more than those did. And actually, I mean, it's got issues. I think the scenes in Korea are really strong. The scenes in New Zealand less so. But yeah, it's a really compelling portrait of Korea. And it's an interesting film to open the festival. It's well acted, like I said, and it's a shame the scenes in New Zealand don't quite come together as well. And the narrative structure of the film is a bit confusing. It kind of goes back and forth, and it's not really clear in the narrative where the characters are in terms of him. So I think that's an issue for the film. But yeah, I liked it more than others did. I was expecting it to be not particularly good, and actually it was not bad at all.
Okay, so a film that perhaps hasn't wowed the critics, so perhaps the festival, in their eyes, has opened with perhaps less of a bang than one might have hoped, but still, there are definitely a lot of other films that people can look forward to as well. What else have you seen? Anything that stood out for you over the last couple of days that you've been there?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen quite a lot actually. I've managed to see a bit before, but I've had to. I'm embargoed on a lot of the films I've seen, but some of the stuff I can talk about. I saw new Hong Sang-soo two new Hong Sang-soo films. He's like Korea's most prolific director. He's made 30 films, I watched In Our Day yesterday. That features Kim Min-hee and Gi Ju-bong. It's very kind of quintessential Hong Sang-soo. It follows this poet. And he basically badly wants a drink, and yeah, you see him have conversations, and I mean that's very Hong Sang-soo in that you've got these characters talking about love, talking about life, and just focusing on the ordinary details of life. And then I also saw his other film this afternoon, In Water, which for much of it is actually out of focus. And it's a bit of a hard sell, but actually I kind of enjoyed it. I think he often questions, what is film, and he gets us to kind of look at film in interesting ways. And that's certainly true for that film as well. I mean, it basically follows a filmmaker making a movie, and I think reflects. I mean, the leading character. I mean, he does come across as very Hong Sang-soo. He's writing it, but basically leaving it to the last minute. Doesn't really know. It doesn't have a script together, and that's that is Hong Sang-soo. And also in terms of other premieres, I watched Believer 2 last night, which is the sequel to the film directed by Lee Hae-young, and this is a Netflix title, so it's going to drop on Netflix next month. I didn't like that one at all. I thought it was just really convoluted. It stars Cho Jung-un, much like the first film, and Cha Sung-won, a few other new faces in there as well. Han Yo-ju, who wasn't in the first film. It's very grim. It's very violent. But yeah, it's very, very. I mean, it just goes at a ridiculous pace. It almost feels like a series crammed into 110 minutes. Audiences can watch that film on Netflix in a few weeks. Also saw a film called It's Okay, which I was really in the mood for. I was a bit tired, and it's a really kind of upbeat, kind of crowd pleaser. It follows this dancer. Her mother is killed in a car accident, and she's basically left, alone. She hasn't got a father, and she's at this private school, so she's facing all that kind of competition. But she's life in a very optimistic way, despite her circumstances. And there are these kind of musical items, and it's directed by Kim Hae-young and stars Lee. And yeah, it's just an infectious lead, and I really enjoyed that film. I can see that potentially performing quite well if it ever gets released on a streaming platform. But yeah, there's also lots to see down here in Busan. I'm really keen to catch over the next few days.
Yes, and an interesting selection of films that you've mentioned there. But I know there were some other films that you wanted to highlight as well, right? Some which have had their debuts elsewhere, and which you have seen, though, right?
Well, some of them I have, some of them I haven't.
Okay.
I mean, there's a program that's focusing on Korean American filmmakers, so kind of Korean diaspora. So there's Past Lives, which I haven't seen, which I'm really keen to see. That's Celine Song, directed by Celine Song, who this film made its premiere in Sundance earlier on this year. It's generating awards buzz, also screened in Berlin. So there's an opportunity to catch that film here in Busan. In part of that program is also Minari and many other Burning as well, and Searching. And Poor Things, I really want to see. This is the film starring Emma Stone in what potentially could be an Oscar-winning performance. I tried to get a ticket, Jang, this morning, and I failed. It sold out within seconds. So, I'm not going to be able to see that. It's screened later on the festival. I'm not here, so I'll have to wait until that's probably released earlier on next year. It won the Golden Lion in Venice, and there's a film called Dear Jinli, which is a Netflix documentary, which I'm quite keen to see. That's focused on the late singer, and it's directed by Jung Yun-suk from Non-Fiction Diaries. I want to catch kind of a whole films and also series as well. Vigilante rather, starring Nam Joo-hyuk. This is a Disney series, so I'm hopefully catching that tomorrow morning, or rather tomorrow afternoon. So that's a great thing about the program. I've been focusing on the discoveries, but I'm also quite excited to watch other things as well.
Well, it certainly sounds like an exciting festival this year. Once again, some interesting films. Your line is breaking up, so I think we're going to have to leave it there. We hope you enjoy the rest of the festival. I'm sure you will. I'm sure you'll have a great time down there. We'll wrap it up. Jason, thank you for connecting with us, and we'll catch up with you again next time.
Yes, we'll do, and hopefully talk a bit more about Busan when I get back. Bye.
Bye.